Hi, welcome back to One Dish, Two Ways. I'm Sheila and there's Joe behind the camera. Today is all about dressings. We're going to do 3 dressings, starting with a balsamic. Then we're going to do a 3-2-1 dressing and then a peanut dressing. So we're starting with the balsamic. Now this one I did start ahead of the video because you take balsamic vinegar, any kind that you want. You put it in a very shallow, this is the most small pot I have. And then you cook it down on very low for 30 to 45 minutes. You want to get it to like it's 50 to 75% what it was before. Now I have stirred this a few times, so you can tell but that there is around the edges. It didn't start up here at the top, but it started further down. And what you're getting towards is that it's super thick. A glaze, exactly what I said. Now this is actually pretty warm, so I'm not going to be able to put it in the squeeze jar, but it didn't make a lot, so that's why I just need a small one. It's best to use a squeeze jar so that a lot of times people use it to finish stuff, or this time of year, the reason I made it is because I wanted it to have you use it when you slice tomatoes, and then you have your basil. If you eat mozzarella or even vegan mozzarella, and you've got that platter, then you put the balsamic over it. This is what you want. You want that thick balsamic, not this stuff that's real liquidy. So you just have to watch this, keep it on low, and when you start to see it coat the back of your spoon, then you know, I mean, this is thick. It's probably just a tad too thick, but I'm going to put it in this jar. And then the secret is when you go to use it, you do need to put your jar in like some warm water because it's going to get thick and you got to loosen it up a little bit. And then you just squeeze it on whatever you're going to use it on. It's also really good on steamed greens, like steamed kale. Phenomenal on, because it just, you take that balsamic and it just sweetens it when you start cooking that down. So that is dressing number 1. On to the next. Okay, so this is what I call the 3-2-1 dressing, and I learned it from a book I read from Jane Esseltyn probably 6 or 7 years ago. So I give her total credit. It just basically, you make it with whatever you have in the kitchen, cabinets, cupboards, fridge, whatever. So, and I mean, I probably make this one the most often because, as I've told you guys before, I might have a mustard and a vinegar addiction. And now I also have a couple different flavored maple syrups. So now I can really switch it up. That's what I like about this dressing, is it's 3 parts vinegar, 2 parts mustard, 1 part maple syrup. So the possibilities are absolutely endless based on what you have in the cupboard. So because we did a balsamic, and so I wanted a vinegar that had because if you use a balsamic, of course, unless you use a white balsamic, it's going to be dark in color. So I wanted to do a light in color. So there's lemon vinegars out there. You can use red wine and apple cider if you want, but in general, I tend to use a flavored vinegar. So this one, I just picked this one up probably a few weeks ago with a friend at the garlic press, and it's summer peach. So this is the vinegar I'm choosing to use today. Now, when I say 3-2-1, it's exactly that. You don't have to do 3 tablespoons, 2 tablespoons, 1. I just take a spoon and I go and I count it. So 1. So it's whatever. Let's not hold that back. So there's my 3. But I don't want to make just 1 serving. I want to make this so I have it for a couple different salads. So I am probably, that's 4, 5, 6, and I'm going to triple it. So I'm going to do 7. So whatever avenue you're using to measure it, you just need to do it 3 times. So there is my vinegar, and I tripled it. So that means I need 6 tablespoons of this mustard. And I'm just using good old Dijon mustard today. So 1, 2. Now, if you want it to be more precise, certainly get out tablespoons, teaspoons. I'm measuring it. Oh, there's my 6. And now I need 3 of the maple syrup. 1, 2, and I do count it out loud even if I'm not on camera because I have a tendency to lose count. Now you could also add some of these seasonings that we've made in a previous video, but I'm making it simple. And then you just shake, shake, shake. It's like a miniature arm workout. Oh, I love this color. Look at that color. Vibrant. Oh. Now you do like peach, but I know you're not a huge vinegar fan. Did you want to try it? Oh. You taste a little bit of peach, but it's not overwhelming. And it actually tames down the vinegar, doesn't it? Yeah, that's really good. So I cannot wait to use that on greens. No, I know. Sometimes I've used very strong mustards. I had to give my mom one that had like a kind of horseradish. It was just too much for me. So yeah, it's that simple. So tell us in the comments, what mustard and vinegar are you using for this 3-2-1 dressing, and have you found it helpful? On to the next. Okay, this is dressing number 3, but let's go back to dressing number 2. So while I was getting set up for these, Joe said that he liked that one he just tasted, and said another idea instead of just over salad and stuff is that could be used as a marinade for pineapple and then grilling the pineapple. So you know we're going to be trying that because that does sound delicious. So let's do this peanut sauce. What can take your whole food plant-based cooking or even any of your cooking to the next level is a great sauce. And that took me a little bit to figure out. I mean, I'm a decent cook, but to kind of combine all these and know to hit those different flavor profiles, it was kind of a learning experience for me. And so I watched other people on YouTube, and they had these peanut dressings, and I was like, well, this is phenomenal. So the first time I made it with regular peanut butter, like just not the one with the oil in it, but I made it with actual peanut butter that they ground at the store, and I didn't like it. It was too much for me. I like peanut butter, but I wasn't into having all that peanut butter like in my Asian bowl or on my spring rolls or anything like that. So then I saw someone else that used the peanut butter powder, and they used it because this is the defatted version. And since I'm still on a weight loss journey, I am not in maintenance mode, and I had this, I thought, well, let me try it with this. That changed it for me. Number one, the peanut flavor is a lot more mild, which I prefer. And I know I'm not getting as much fat as if it's the regular peanut butter or the ground up peanuts. So that's when I started making this one. So I usually make this one a couple times a month because I tend to do Asian 4 or 5 times a month, if not more. And this is one of my go-tos for that. So like I said, spring rolls. If you just want to julienne carrots and julienne cucumber, and then you add this sauce to it. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Just raw. It's just a great way to get some raw veggies in with such a good flavor. Any kind of Asian bowl, rice bowl, this is just a great sauce. So let's get moving on it. So I'm only going to make one batch of it because for me, it'll last a couple meals, and we're getting ready to go out of town again. And so I want to make sure this will only last up to 6 days in the fridge. So I'm just going to make one batch, but again, you can double and triple this if you want. So we're going to start with 3 tablespoons. So this is a tablespoon of the peanut butter. I think there's a couple other brands of the powdered peanut butter, but I think this is probably the one that's out there most. So we got 3 tablespoons. Okay. And then we've got 1 tablespoon of maple syrup. The other thing I like about this is it's 1. I mean, just, you'll see it's kind of easy to remember. I mean, I have my cheat sheet, but it's not too hard. So 1 tablespoon of maple syrup. We need 1 tablespoon of rice wine vinegar. Rice wine vinegar really in Asian cooking is the vinegar to use. It gives you most that flavor that you're used to. You can use other vinegars. That's just the one that tends to be used more. 1 tablespoon of low sodium tamari. I get the 50%. I can't find the 75. And I do a hit of sriracha. You could do crushed red pepper, or you could do, what's that? The goji paste, G-O-G. You could use that. I don't have that. So I'm going to do a shot or 2 of sriracha. And you need a teaspoon of sesame seeds. This is a 1/2 teaspoon measure. So I'm going in with 2. Now, if you wanted to really up this flavor, you could toast these sesame seeds. I have a little water here because sometimes it needs a little water when you start mixing it. Sometimes toasting those sesame seeds in just a dry pan over like a low to medium heat, and you just want to toast them till you smell them, then take them off. It can just add to this. Okay. Now, I'm not sure, Joe, if you have ever tried this before. So I want you to try it and tell me what you think.
You can taste the peanut. It tastes more like peanuts, not peanut butter.
Yes. So with all the stir fries that we make, would you ever want this instead of the other one I make, the General Tso's?
It'd be okay.
Yeah, I got just enough sriracha in there too. Just basically hit you in the back of the mouth and then it's done. So one thing I forgot to mention is you also want to mark these, because if you don't, then someone could get in your fridge and not know what kind of dressings you have in there. So I will, and these do wipe off very easily when you wash the item. So there you go. And I will go back and mark the other one. So that's our 3 dressings. So tell me in the comments, which one are you going to use? Which one? This one, you probably have all the ingredients except this. Now, if you use regular peanut butter, I don't know if it might be more like 2 tablespoons with 1 tablespoon of water, because you've got to thin it out a little bit, because that's this consistency that you're wanting. So just keep that in mind. So let me know in the comments, which one are you going to use? Which one do you want to make? And thank you so much for joining us. And we'll see you next week on One Dish, Two Ways.